Before the world knew the name Marie Curie, before the term radioactivity even existed, there was a quiet man whose mind shaped the birth of modern physics. He was so humble that history nearly let him fade into the background. His discoveries fuel technologies we still use every day, from medical imaging to precision instruments to our understanding of matter itself. This is the story of Pierre Curie, the silent force behind one of humanity's greatest scientific revolutions. It is a story of brilliance, partnership, and a tragedy that changed the course of science forever. Pierre Curie was born in Paris in 1859 to a family that valued knowledge more than comfort. His father, a physician, taught him at home. He focused on fostering curiosity rather than just teaching facts. He encouraged observation instead of memorization. Even as a child, Pierre was quiet. He didn't enjoy noisy games. He preferred patterns, shapes, and the strange perfection of nature. By 16, he entered university. By 18, he earned a degree in physics. However, degrees didn't matter much to him. What fascinated him was order. He wondered why crystals had their specific shapes. He questioned why the natural world followed such perfect, yet hidden rules. These questions shaped his early thoughts. Long before Marie Skłodowska came into his life, Pierre Curie was already gaining recognition, but remained uninterested in the spotlight. With his brother Jacques, he studied crystals in a quiet, almost meditative way. Then they discovered something remarkable. When pressure is applied to certain crystals, like quartz, they generate electricity. This phenomenon is known as piezoelectricity. It would later power microphones, sensors, watches, and scientific instruments worldwide. Pierre was just in his early 20s. But he wasn't finished yet. His next area of interest was magnetism. He created an instrument so sensitive that it could detect forces lighter than a grain of dust. This torsion balance allowed him to investigate how materials react to magnetic fields. From his work, he established laws that still carry his name: Curie's law and the Curie point, which is the temperature at which magnetic materials lose their magnetism. He even suggested a philosophical idea that would resonate throughout physics. No effect can possess more symmetry than its cause. This concept became known as the Curie principle, a key idea in crystallography and modern physics. By the early 1890s, Pierre Curie had become a master of precision. He was a scientist who recognized order while others saw chaos. But soon, his life was about to change in an unexpected way. In 1894, a friend introduced Pierre to a doctoral student from Poland, a young woman named Marie Skłodowska. She entered his office because she needed lab space, equipment, and support. What she found was a man who immediately saw her brilliance. What he discovered was someone whose mind moved with the same quiet intensity as his own. Their early letters showed deep intellectual admiration and something more subtle, a partnership forming. At first, it was not driven by romance, but by respect. Pierre asked her to marry him. She hesitated because she loved Poland and planned to return home. But Pierre wrote to her, "We could live together in the service of science, united in our hopes, our dreams, our intellectual ambition." Marie accepted. This marked the start of one of history's greatest scientific partnerships. In 1896, French physicist Henri Becquerel discovered that uranium salts emitted mysterious rays without sunlight, heat, or any external cause. Marie became fascinated. Pierre watched her work and eventually joined her. Together, they created a research program that would redefine physics. Their lab was not glamorous. It was a converted shed, cold in winter, sweltering in summer, with cracks in the roof and primitive equipment. But inside that shed, the world was about to change. Using Pierre's ultra-sensitive electrometer, they measured tiny electric currents from these mysterious rays. Then came the breakthrough. The mineral pitchblende was much more radioactive than uranium itself. This meant only one thing: there must be new elements hidden inside. After months of exhausting chemical, lifting heavy cauldrons, and taking difficult measurements, Marie named it polonium in honor of her homeland. Soon after, they isolated another element, radium, which glowed faintly in the dark. But Pierre pursued the investigation further. He exposed the rays to magnetic fields and found that the radiation consisted of 3 different types: positive particles, negative particles, and neutral rays. These would later be known as alpha, beta, and gamma radiation. He also discovered that radium continuously emitted heat, suggesting that atoms were not indivisible, but contained immense internal energy. This realization was the foundation of nuclear physics. Their work was groundbreaking. In 1903, Pierre Curie, Marie Curie, and Henry Becquerel received the Nobel Prize in Physics. Pierre insisted that Marie's name be included. She had earned it. Pierre and Marie did not collaborate like typical partners. They worked like 2 halves of one scientific mind. Marie was relentless, intuitive, and driven. Pierre was reflective, precise, and philosophical. Together, they explored a realm no one had ever seen. It was a realm of invisible forces and atoms that seemed alive. But fate had other plans. April 19, 1906. Paris was cold and wet. Pierre Curie was crossing a busy street when a horse-drawn carriage carrying heavy cargo turned unexpectedly. He was only 46. Newspapers called it a national tragedy. Scientists around the world mourned. But no one felt the loss more deeply than Marie. In her diary, she wrote, "I have lost my beloved Pierre, and with him, half of myself." Yet she refused a government pension. She said simply, "I am only 38. I can work." And she did. She continued their work, raised their daughters, and eventually won a second Nobel Prize. But something in her life felt broken. The world had lost a genius. Marie had lost her partner. Science had lost a man who redefined what careful, quiet brilliance could achieve. Pierre Curie left behind ideas that shape our world even today. Piezoelectricity made modern sensors, sonar, and quartz clocks possible. Curie's law and Curie temperature remain key aspects of magnetic science. His instruments, such as torsion balances, electrometers, and precision tools, paved the way for 20th century experimental physics. In the field of radioactivity, his insights were foundational. Even the unit of radioactivity, the Curie, is named in honor of Pierre and Marie. But his legacy continued in another way. His daughter, Irene Joliot Curie, won her own Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1935, extending the Curie scientific dynasty. In 1995, Pierre and Marie were reinterred in the Pantheon in Paris, honored among the greatest minds in French history. A man who started life quietly ended it among giants. Pierre Curie's story is not loud. It lacks dramatic speeches and grand moments of triumph. It tells of a mind that saw deeper, a man who found meaning in precision, beauty in symmetry, and truth in the invisible. History often celebrates the loudest voices, but sometimes the world is changed by those who whisper to it. Pierre Curie was one of those whispers, a quiet note that reshaped the symphony of science. Even today, more than a century after his death, the light he helped uncover still glows in the world we live in. This is Pierre Curie, a mind that changed everything, even if the world took too long to. If stories like this one resonate with you, if the lives of quiet geniuses and forgotten minds make you reflect, then you are already part of what we are creating here. Past Mind is a place for those who believe curiosity still matters. For those who want history not just as dates, but as living minds that shape the world we inhabit. So if you'd like to continue this journey with us, through science, philosophy, discovery, and the moments that changed humanity, consider subscribing to the channel. It helps us reach more people who seek the same depth, the same meaning, the same spark. And if Pierre Curie's story resonated with you today, please leave a comment. Tell us what part stayed with you. We read everyone. Thank you for watching. Until the next story, keep your mind open and your curiosity alive.